Morning everybody, it's Graham again from Unearthed, and we have another weekly slot of detecting talk. Got a few things to go through this week. I've had some interesting messages of people asking can I bring up certain subjects. I've got them listed here, so if you see me looking down quite a bit, that's the reason why I'm looking on my notes. I won't be able to cram everything into this week's episode because I'm going to cap it for between 10 and 15 minutes and that's it. Anything over that or below that, people just switch off. So the whole idea of doing these is to give you guys an insight into detecting, how I see it, and a bit of advice and guidance. And if we can just help one or two people out there, it's job done. So the first thing is we're coming to that time of the year where people are having the heating on. It's getting cold outside, the nights are drawing in, the days are growing shorter. Can only mean one thing: winter's on its way, which means every year for the past 7 years we've had calls from people with problems with their detectors. When you dig a little bit deeper, you wouldn't believe how many people leave the metal detectors in the cars, in the boots of the cars, overnight, and then realise that there's a problem. Could be -3 out there. The cars drawing condensation. You go in any oldish car or relatively new car, it doesn't matter which, a lot of them drawing condensation. Cold metal at night draws it in. The detector is an electronic piece of equipment, doesn't do well with damp and wet, and then all of a sudden they wonder why the detectors has a problem. Do not leave in boots of cars. Detectors don't do well just thrown in backs of cars left overnight. Look after your piece of equipment. You've bought that machine, you've worked hard over the years to save up the money to buy that machine, only to be left in a cold boot overnight where the damp can cause havoc with it. Not only that, there's a lot of these scumbags going out there looking in boots of cars, checking if the boot's open, looking on the back seats, there's a detector in there, I'll have that, thank you. Happens all the time. And I know this because it happened to me. I went detecting once with the kids when they were very young, and I had a little Tesoro rapier, laser rapier, and I left it on the back seat of the car. And of course, when you've got young kids, young boys are running around all over the place, full of energy, got them in the house, got them undressed because they were dirty because they'd been detecting all day with me, got in the bath, in the shower, forgot about my detector for a short period. It wasn't overnight, it was probably about 9-10 o'clock at night when I realised in the winter, oh God, I've left my detector. Went out, the detector was gone. The detector was stolen out the back of my car. I actually thought I'd left it where I'd been detecting, so the next day I went up there looking for it, no sign of it, so somebody's picked it up. Forgot all about it. 18 months later, I got a call off somebody, or Saturday tea time, with a picture of my detector on the front cover of the local Evening Mail, with a policeman saying, we've raided a house and we found these pieces of equipment, a detector, there was all sorts of tellies. Does anybody recognise this? There's my little detector there. I went to the police station, told them the crack, got it back. It had a fingerprint dust all over the detector. It still had the same battery in as I left in 18 months ago and still remarkably worked. So I made the mistake of doing it, and I'm only telling you guys, be careful. Don't leave your detectors in cars overnight. Rule number 1, for them 2 reasons. The other thing is, while we're on the subject of detectors, we get a lot of calls from people that are buying machines off eBay. Now, if you buy a machine off eBay, it's a second-hand machine, you probably get a pretty good price or a pretty good deal. However, the warranties on these machines are pretty non-existent. So we have people buying off eBay and then they have a problem. They have a fault. The machines have either been bought with a problem or has developed a fault pretty soon afterwards. But you've got to ask yourself, why are these people selling them so cheap in the first place? Just be careful. They come to us and I say, not a lot we can do for you. You've got no receipts, you've got no invoices, no proof of purchase. You bought it off a guy off eBay. That machine could have come from anywhere, and now it's got a major fault. And people are left a little bit red-faced about it. But not only that, they're saying, it's got a fault, I don't know what I've done to it. You know, we get it back, we have a look at it, we strip it out. There's water damage all over the place, but they swear blind they've never got it wet until we expose that situation and that problem. And they say, well, yeah, maybe I have used it in the rain once or twice. Just be careful. a bit thoughtful about the situation. There's a lot of people out there that claim they don't get the machines wet. They do. They don't use covers. They should. So just be aware that eBay can be a problem buying them cheap. If it's cheap, it's probably too cheap. You know, you buy cheap, you buy twice. So just be careful about the eBay situation, guys. Every day, well, every week we get calls for people buying them off eBay a couple of years ago, a year ago, or 12 months ago or less, and they're developing faults and they want it fixing free of charge. We can't do it. It hasn't come from us. Nothing to do with us, that machine. Absolutely nothing to do with us. Not our customer. We can't fix it. It's as simple as that. Sounds brutal, but it's true. We've got a business to run. I've got a living to make. I can't be fixing people's machines that have got nothing to do with us. They've got no warranty, and then they get upset on the other end of the phone when you turn them down. So it's just a bit. I don't want to see this as being a bit of a rant, and I don't want it to go down that route. But equally, we've got to get the message out there somehow. There's no point in typing onto Facebook on the Facebook pages about this. It's good to say it out face to face so people can digest it. So that's that. So we're putting that to bed. The negativity's gone now. Right. I've been asked a question from a guy that follows us on YouTube about fines reporting. Would you advise people to report your fines that you make with the portable antiquity scheme? Now, I've always, for years and years, I've recorded different fines, and I've had good experiences and not so good experiences with the situation. Now, I think that in large or as a whole, the fines liaison officers do a pretty good job. They're not always going to get it right. Us detectorists probably know just as much as them in some places because we're handling fines all the time. So you know, you've got to. They're not always going to be correct with their identifications. However, they're pretty good. A lot of them are good. So I would say my advice would be, where applicable and when you want to do it, just feel free to do it. Feel free to record your fines. Treasure cases, that's a different kettle of fish. You've got to go through the right procedures to do that. But when you're reporting everyday fines, coins and artifacts, they're not classed as treasure. Do it. If you feel comfortable about doing it, do it. You get good identification. You get your chance to get your artifact or your coin properly identified of what it is, which is good. You get some information back, which is also good. The problem lies when some fines liaison officers ask for a parish or an area where a village or where it was found. That's not a problem. I've done that for years. However, I draw a line when they start asking for specific fine spots, 6-figure grid references for, I don't know, a Roman coin or a brooch. Some of the farmers are a bit touchy about the fact that we're giving information over like that, and they don't want that information then going up to the public domain, and then they're getting hammered on the door by detectorists all the time, and I can understand that. So what I would say is, record your fines. That's brilliant. That's what the scheme's there for. It's set up for detectorists to use. It's working as a two-way street. But personally, may I draw the line on 6-figure grid references. I don't want to be giving information like that over. That's just me. Might be different for other people. Might sound a bit paranoid to people, but that's just the way I am. All my coins from 1180 down, or up to 1180 AD, I record with the Fitzwilliam Museum. Fantastic. They give me a proper identification within that day of the coin, the mint, the money. I mean, some of these Saxon coins and early Norman coins, it's very difficult to identify. The Fitzwilliam Museum, fantastic people. They don't ask for fine spots. They don't ask for an exact field. They ask for whereabouts it was found, what village, what county. Not a problem. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant service. So I continually use their service. So that's just my take on that. If you're happy to record your fines, do it. All right. I hope that helps. Another question's been asked off a guy that he actually detects in a really good county, but he's struggling to find Roman bits and pieces. Now, the county that he lives in and detects in is very rich in Roman history. However, his farms seem to be pretty well devoid of Roman material. However, what I've said to him is this: we find a lot of Roman material, we're blessed. Some of our farms have a lot of Roman activity on it. Even the farms that really don't, we still find Roman stuff. It seems in certain counties such as Lincolnshire, Norfolk, Wiltshire, other counties like that seem very rich in Roman history. Most fields have Roman coins in them. We've proved that for years. But what I've said to you is this: when the fields get ploughed, that he's got his permission on, instead of detecting on it straight away, why don't you just do a little bit of a field walk? Do a bit of a field walk like we used to, looking for signs, looking for them Roman pottery shards. That then will indicate that there's been Roman activity on that particular piece. You might not find a great deal, but it gives you an indication that the Romans were there. That pottery's come from somewhere. So that's an indication. So if he sticks in, eventually the Roman coins will come to light. Also, if there's any Roman roads in his area, and I've said this to him by message, usually find them networks, them Roman roads, were the main, they were the main artery of travel. So every so often, every few miles or so, there'll be a Roman site. There might be a Roman inn. There might be a Roman trading post. There could be a small farm. There'll be something Roman linked to that road. They wouldn't have gone on for miles and miles and miles with nothing. The weary traveller in the Roman times, I've done 15 miles, he wants a rest. His horse wants a rest. Tie his horse up, go to the local inn, have a rest. There's Roman activity around these road networks. So eventually, if you've got permission that is nearby to these Roman roads and these networks and these Roman tracks, you will find Roman coins. There's no two ways about it. You've just got to spend the time and have the patience to winkle them out. And also worth remembering, a lot of these Roman finds, a lot of these Roman coins are mixed in with a lot of iron. So you've got to get that sort of machine that is good around the iron. Fast recovery speed, highly sensitive. You will do the business. The worst thing you can do is get frustrated every time you go, where's a Roman now? I'm not finding any Roman. My mates are finding them. I'm not finding them. Just give it time. You'll do it. You'll pull them up. The Romans were very, very careless in their losses. There's plenty of Roman coins out there to be found. I found 60 something in the last 2 trips. Now that's not me bragging, but it gives you an idea of how many's out there. There's thousands of Roman coins. You've just got to walk. There's an old saying in detecting: you've got to fish where the fish are. You've got to get out there and get in amongst where the Roman activity was. So I hope that helps. I'm going to be asking for people to forward me more and more questions on. I've got a list here, and I'm not going to go through them all today. What I'll do is I'll make sure that I do one of these per week, where people can link in, ask specific questions. If they want any advice and guidance off me, I'll do my best to do it. But I've got a list: 1, 2, 3, 6, 5 or 6 questions here for next week. So I hope that's been of help. I don't want to see it as being a platform to have a bit of a moan and groan, but it gives people an idea of what goes on. I guess maybe our lives at times can be run ragged by certain people, which all adds to the flavour, I guess, of detecting. But any questions, I'll do my best to help. So I hope that helps, and if you're not detecting this weekend, good luck. Fingers crossed you find something nice, and we'll link in with you guys next week. Okay, bye for now.